Hello sunshines, welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish, pretty much everywhere. Today is February 28th, 2026, and it is time to talk about my long-term whips. So, in case you missed the January version of this year I'm doing a series where I talk about all of the whips that I just do a little bit of work on every week in these wrap-up videos, and then during the month I am vlogging mostly about crafting, but every once in a while some other things, crafting and reading. But I will, at the end of the monthly wrap-up videos, put up pictures of the books I've finished and projects that I've finished, but I'm not going to talk about them here. If you want to know about those, you'll have to go watch the vlogs. So, important today, I am in the midst of a sciatica flare-up, and I was going back and forth over whether I should sit for this video or stand for this video, and I'm thinking standing is going to hurt less, but I am probably going to shift back and forth a lot because it's on a pain scale, it's only like a level 3, but 3 is still annoying. So that's just what it's going to be. I am going to I have a laundry basket here, and I'm going to pull out my long-term whips in no particular order and just discuss as things come up. These are this is actually really exciting. This is a cool place to start. This is a single item. This is going to be a thigh high for my oldest kiddo. I have already made the first one. It's made using Haverland Minis Frankensocks kits, but we split I got like 7 of them from my friend Haley last year, 7 or 8, a lot. And we split them into color families, and my kiddo got like neutrals and warm colors. So she put them in the order she wanted. And I made so much progress on this past month because I was working on some little monsters that the increases and decreases needed to be worked on size 1. So I did those magic loop. I finished a pair of socks where the toe had to be worked magic loop. So look at all of that. That's a lot. That's a lot when my goal was to do 2 rounds a week. So I'm really, really proud of this one. This is probably, until I get to like big projects, this is probably the coolest amount of progress that I've made on anything. Next up, I have my Totoro Starry Night blanket, and thought I had another. I do. I have just barely started another little teeny section. This section is, it goes like this. This is all finished with the yellows and oranges. So until I pull out blues to work around it, this part is finished. So now I'm starting on this. Oh, this is a star. Can't you tell it's a star? It's a star. And this is the very beginning of a crescent moon. My goal is to do 1 square on that a week. If I'm being honest, February wasn't a great crafting month for multiple reasons. We had midwinter break, which you would think would be a lot of crafting, but my boyfriend also had those days off. So we ended up like hanging out and doing stuff together, which is amazing, right? But I wasn't hanging out in my own space crafting. And then conferences were this past week, and today is Saturday, and I've been in this flare up since Wednesday night. So the past 2 days there's been like almost no crafting because I just can't get comfortable, and like if I get my body comfortable, then it's not really comfortable to work with my crafts, like holding the projects or anything. So it hasn't been a great crafting month, and that's why. So you'll see that reflected in this. Next up, I have my sister's cowl. The goal for this is 2 rounds a week. I did not do that. But I also didn't do nothing. So there is that. I would like to have this done this year. It's one of my crafty bingo goals. And in March, my littlest is in the school musical, and so I will be going to the school musical. And I anticipate working on this there because it's very easy. It's around and around, changing obviously if a mini runs out or after 10 rounds, whichever happens first, but really simple and also engaging, but not in a very disruptive way. So I feel like this will get a fair amount of work in March, even though it got only 4 rounds in February. Oh my gosh, my hair is in every single project. Like, I'm not surprised, but it's just annoying me extra today. Probably because I'm at a level 3 on my pain, and so everything's just a little more annoying today. Last month I talked about wanting to put this project in a box to keep the spindle safe, and my kids' grandma sent us this really cute little package, and it's the perfect size for a spinning project. Here is my spinning project, and I did spin on this at least twice this month, so it's got at least 30 minutes of progress. I do want to fin a spinning project this year. It doesn't have to be this one, although that would be cool because this one is a long-term spin. I can't even tell you how long it's been on the spindle. All of my spins, except the next one that I'm going to show you, have been on the spindles for years. So this is Deviant Fibers, and the colorway are Endless Numbered Days. Sorry, I have kids. They live here. They make noise. So if you could hear that, that was my littlest doing whatever she was doing in the kitchen. So the colorway is called Our Endless Numbered Days. Oh, did I say that the cowl... She's just going to make noise. I'm sorry if that's too bothersome for you. Did I say that the cowl and the blanket are both made using scrap yarns, like leftovers? I haven't bought yarn for them yet. I think eventually I will buy yarn for the blanket because there is a really big section of the Totoro that is gray. And there's a really big section that there's like black parts of a border. So I'll probably buy yarn for that because I don't really tend to buy just gray yarn. Although, I'm saying this although, okay, hold on. Not something that I need to start anytime soon. Maybe this year, but maybe not. I have this cardigan that I made a long time ago. I've worn it exactly 0 times. I think it's beautiful. It was a nitty pattern. I don't remember what it's called. The yarns for it were from the gray is Leading Men Fiber Arts, and the colorful one is Nooch Fiber. It's really pretty. It's just not like I made it and like, I guess it comes down to like the top of my hips, which I don't find to be a very flattering length for me. Also, as I was blocking it, this is, you want to know how old this whip or this thing is? This is when I first moved to Kentucky. No, when I first moved back to Michigan from Kentucky. This was one of my, I think one of my first finished objects. And when I was blocking it, is it this? I think it might be this. Yeah, when I was blocking it, a little baby kitten chewed a hole in the sweater. And I did my best to repair the hole, but it's right on the shoulder. And so like, when I made this, I was also much smaller than I am now, like skinnier. So I don't think that the fit would be flattering on me now anyway. Like, I feel like that would be too tight. But the kitten chewed a hole in the shoulder, and I was like, oh, it's okay. I can repair it. It'll be fine. And like, maybe if it was near the bottom hem, it would have been fine. But like, this is just not. Or even maybe if it was in the gray, it would have been fine. But because it's in the colorful parts, like, yes, I could tuck those ends into the inside, but I'm not going to wear it. So what I'm thinking is maybe I don't have to buy gray yarn for that blanket. Maybe, again, not right now, but maybe I'll just rip this sweater, reclaim the yarn because it's beautiful yarn. Oh my gosh, this Nooch color. I don't remember what it is, but it was my absolute favorite colorway that they dyed. It's like this dark rainbow. It's so pretty. And then I could use that in my scrappy blankets or make a pair of socks for myself. Yeah. Huh, okay. I'm glad I had this chat with you. Let's get back to another whip. Okay, so this is the spinning project that is new. I just put this on the spindle in December. My goal was to spin 5 minutes a day, and I did really good at that in January, and I did not do that in February. I've probably spun on this like 15 minutes this whole month. I don't know, it just wasn't a spinning month. Some months are like that. February felt very, very hibernating to me. Like I should have been hibernating, because we should be hibernating. We should still be cozy. We should just now be like starting to wake up because it's spring here in the Northern Hemisphere. And if you can hear that helicopter, I'm really sorry. I live not very far from a base, an army base. So it's the weekend. The helicopters are flying. It's a thing. But yeah, like I'm just now starting. We had sun yesterday and it was like 40 degrees when I left school. And it was so nice. And I think it's going to be similar today. Like it's sunny-ish. Not like sunny, but like I might be able to work on cross stitch today, which speaking of, let's speak of some cross stitch. I turned off the light because I felt like I wasn't doing a good job, but maybe it was. So I'm sorry if like this is not good. We'll see. We'll see both ways for this. So anyway, last month I was talking about this coffee cross stitch, and I said if I got the top finished that I could start the Sally cross stitch. Can you even see it? No, it's too dark. So she's sitting over here, and then, oh, what's her name? Catherine passed away. Sally passed away. And so I feel like she's been looking at me all month being like, hello. Okay, now I feel like it's too dark. I'm going to turn the light back on. And now that I've turned the light back on, you can see Sally. So she's been looking at me and she's been like, hello, are you doing the thing? Because I can't work on Sally until the top half is finished. But this whole quadrant is finished. Like this is, okay, no, it's not. This border still needs to be crossed in, but it's almost finished. And look at that. All of coffee is finished. I have to finish crossing this half of the border, extend this border down, and then there's just some back stitching right here that says fresh with some curly cues that kind of match this. That is totally doable. So you probably won't see Sally. You probably won't hear me talk about Sally in next month's wrap-up video. I feel like that's going to be a vlog thing because it's very small. Do you want to see Sally? Of course you do. So Sally is very small. That's going to be, I mean, maybe a few days, because I usually just tend to do one strand of cross stitch, and then because of the way that I hold the project, whether it's in a hoop or in my hand, like my left hand starts to hurt. So I only tend to do a strand at a time, or maybe Like for this one, it's a half a strand if the lighting isn't great or if I'm having to concentrate super hard. So I assume I'll finish this in March because how cute is she? Oh my gosh, I love her. Okay. But anyway, first I have to finish the top half of this, and that could be a weekend day. I don't think it's sunny enough right now, but also I have a ring light in my eye, so maybe it's sunny enough for me to work on this right now, but I don't think so. But hopefully tomorrow or later today. And I do have like an honorable mention sort of thing. So I finished this embroidery of houseplants, and I do have intent to finish it. Well, I wanted to finish it in February, but I didn't. So it's still a long-term whip because I have this fabric, this old pair of pajamas from when I was in college. Why do I still have remnants of pajamas from when I was in college? Because the fabric's really cute and I knew I would use it for something someday. And today, well, not today, this month is that day. You know what I'm saying. So yeah, that's going to be the backing. I'm thinking I'm probably going to do a rectangle around and make it flat to hang on a wall, not like a pillow or something. I'm not really a decorative pillow person, and neither is the person who I intend to make this for, but things on the wall, yes, we do that. So that's what I'm thinking for this. I've also worked on my nor'easterly a little bit. I didn't put in stitch markers on the sections, so I don't actually know how much I've put in, but I'm on the section where I work with Tracy's yarn. So that's where I'm at. And I know I've worked on it, but I don't remember how much. Maybe only this part? I don't know, but I did work on it a little bit. I did touch it a little bit. It's growing a tiny bit, and it's just so beautiful. So this is also leftover yarns. You worked on a US size 1, 2.25 millimeter needle, and I am working up my nor'easterly in panels for portability purposes, and then attaching panels together. So I think at this point, so I have this started, this 3-row panel, and then I have a panel that's 8 rows wide. So as you can imagine, that would be cumbersome to carry around. But if I wanted to bring this project somewhere, the 3 rows fit in a small project bag with the yarns for the 3 different sections. This was from ZK 2020. ZK at home, in case you wanted to see. Commemorated forever. Which I feel is very, like, it. My Tracy, my Tracy row had to go in a ZK bag because that's where I met Tracy in person. I also have a, it's kind of a self-drafted pattern. It's not a pattern. It's a bias strip blanket. I'm not using anybody's pattern. The person who designs the nor'easterly has a very similar pattern. I think it's called Flying South or something like that. Maybe. But it's literally just bias strips that I then crochet together using black yarn. And the current strip that I'm working on is using self-striping scraps only, and it's from the Cozy Knitter Advent Calendar. This particular strip is, so this is leftovers from one Cozy Knitter Advent year. This is colors from another. This is the current one I'm on, and I pulled out my strips that are already put together to like measure this against it to see if I needed to finish this off soon. It looks like I should be able to finish this mini because I can't bend over, but I can squat. So that is, okay, that's what we're doing here. The sciatica says, you can't bend. Do not try. Which is why sitting is painful. In case you were wondering. In case you don't know what sciatica is. Let's have a little health lesson, very brief. Sciatica happens when your sciatic nerve is kind of pinched, and there's a bunch of reasons why that could happen. Mine is because when I was pregnant with my oldest, who's now 17, I had an art class, a life drawing class, and I was in a session and I didn't stand up for 2 hours, and then I could not move because the discs in my spine shifted, because when you're pregnant, things shift sometimes. And so every once in a while, my nerve gets pinched. So it's pinched right now. It's fine. Anyway, I only have 2 colors left in this little nugget before this blanket, or this, before I can start the next nugget in the blanket. And I will be doing a little row of black in between this color and the next color. And then I'm probably going to get really, really anxious when I get close to the end of that color to be like, is it really going to be the right size? Is it going to be too big? So that might be a 2027 problem though, because I don't know, because I'm only doing, I think I'm doing a stripe. Oh, I did put a marker. Look at that. Oh, I did 3 stripes this month. Very good job, me, because I think the goal is a stripe a week. So that means that I only missed 1 week, which is fine because I did not craft this week. So that tracks. This project made an appearance in the vlog because I didn't talk about it last month on the wrap up because it was just in my cabinet. It was the only of the 12 cast-ons. 12 cast-ons projects that I didn't pick up, but I needed an easy work project, and we had a day where I was in 2 assemblies for part of the assembly, not for the entire assembly. So I had a 40-minute knitting stint and then about a 30-minute knitting stint. And so on that day, I did maybe not all of this, but a lot of this progress. And I've done, I think this was what I did on that day. And then I have done a little bit here and there because this is where my marker was last month, and I am getting really, really close to the heel. So I want to do this pink and then an orange, and then I'm still not sure what kind of heel I want to do on the sock, because now I'm like, oh, maybe I do want to do an afterthought heel so I don't mess up the stripes, even though they're not my favorite heel to do, but also I do really like my own afterthought heel pattern for fit. The, what is that? The high instep afterthought heel. I do really like that pattern. It fits really, really well for my foot. And I feel like my aunt probably has similar shaped feet to me. So yeah, this is going to go back to school now. And it's going to live in my pocket as my pocket knitting, because I don't really have anything else that's particularly great pocket knitting. Yeah, I don't have anything else that's particularly great pocket knitting. Nothing else is in a good place. And in March, I don't think I have a plan to start anything that's going to be great pocket knitting, because I really feel like my March plans is going to be basically the same as my February plans were. Spoiler alert. So yeah, that's my thought on that. Okay, I'm going to put this down and get the next project, which is another sock. And now that I pick it up, I don't think I worked on this project at all. So it's the Diamondback by Kirsten Hall. It's beautiful. The yarn is from Spartickes Dyes, who's no longer dying. It's lovely, but I didn't work on this month, so it still exists in my whip pile. Maybe, I think I'm going to put this in my yarn cabinet and like UFO it, but obviously finish it this year, but just not worry about it for March. It's very pretty, but yeah, I don't think that this is the project for March. I think it's too much brain power, and March is going to be tough. Like at work, March is going to be tough. So I'm going to UFO this for the month of March, and then maybe you'll see it back in April. I did put a little bit of work on this, but again, I didn't put in a progress keeper, so I don't know how much work I did on this. This is going to be a mermaid. Can you tell? I lost all of my sense of urgency on this project because my daughter was going to go on spring break and visit her aunt and cousin, but now they're not going until the summer, so I am still trying to put 3 rounds on it a week. It's a very small amount, but it'll get there eventually because making toys is not my favorite, despite how many toys I made in February. It's not my favorite. I don't love doing it, but I do love this yarn. It's very, very beautiful. It's Miss Babs. Do I have the tag in the bag? No, because that would be too much like right. I think it's the Rainbow Trout colorway. I may be making that up. I don't know, but it's very pretty. And hopefully next time you see it, I will have gotten past the fin. And then there's like a decorative detail. And then I am changing this pattern because Mickey is a boy in the pattern. And so like from the navel up is skin colored. But I don't want to do that. And I don't really want to make a bikini top, so I think that I'm going to extend this color up to like the armpits. I think that'll be good. And plus this color is so pretty, and I feel like it should just be used for that. I'm also using, this is Miss Babs Yowza minis, or what is it? It's like a half skein. It's definitely not a full skein of Yowza. And so it's a DK. So my Mickey is going to turn out bigger than the pattern because the pattern calls for fingering weight yarn. But it's going to be so cute. And back when my tiny human was very tiny, my littlest, I made her a Mickey using worsted weight, and it was like this big. So it'll be fun to make something a little bit smaller than that, but still kind of like big and fun, and hopefully my kid's cousin loves it. There's one of her. I am struggle busing with the English over here and the making the articles match the whatever part of speech that is, the verb. Okay, I just paused, I reset my stuff. So I only have 3 projects here to talk about, but I do have 3 other projects that are not here that are long-term whips that I briefly want to touch on. One is a Musselburgh-ish hat that lives in my car for when I am stopped at a train, which happens fairly frequently in my neighborhood. It happened to me this week, in fact, on my way to school. It is Keenan Yarns. I think I'm knitting it on a US size 0. It's a fingering weight yarn. And here's a picture with my hand for scale of how long it is. So this is my hand, and from here to here is 7.5 inches. I also have a blanket for my littlest. She requested a blanket that is pink, blue, and purple. She wanted it to be rectangular, and so I am making her corner to corner, currently using scrapped yarns or yarns that I have in my stash that have been given to me. Do I think I'll probably have to buy some yarn at some point? Yeah, probably, but right now it's small. It's just getting started. I just need it finished by the end of the year, so that hangs out at my boyfriend's house because it's very mindless. And then I also have a sock. Why is it a long-term whip? Well, because it's for someone with a size 15 shoe. And so I'm in the gusset decreases because I did a heel flap, And I've never made a sock for a size 15 shoe, so I cast on 80 stitches, which means that after the gusset increases, it's well over 100 stitches. So it's on magic loop right now. So that's at my boyfriend's house, and I just hope to get a few rounds in here and there, because that's a lot. Okay, now back to what I do have here. I worked a pretty good amount on my aunt's wrap this month. Still didn't make the entire goal of 6 rows a week, but I did it for 3 weeks. So look at all of that. Look at all of that growth. And last month, do you remember how I said I wasn't going to rip back? I did. I did put in a picture after I said it, but in case you weren't looking at the screen, I said I wasn't going to rip back after the giant mistake, but it was so ugly. I couldn't do that. I couldn't leave that for my aunt. So I ripped it back. I reworked up that section. I made really good progress. I'm so proud of myself. This actually is the way that I made all that progress is taking it to my boyfriend's house. It's like really, really ideal knitting for over breakfast, because it's don't have to think about it, don't have to fidget with the cords too much because the row is long. So it's probably going back to my boyfriend's house for breakfast tomorrow. So that's exciting. I did good. Let me move that marker right now before I forget. Good job me making all of that progress. I also worked on the wedding blanket, and I had a goal to finish up a whole skein of yarn, and I was on track to finish it, and then I just didn't craft. Hold on. I have a fuzzy in my hair. I didn't craft it all the last 3 days. Like, not really. Not really. So I have this much left of a giant skein, like a big giant skein. So I'm pleased with that progress, and look how big it is. So I don't know if that's quite half or like near half or maybe like 40%, but I'm pretty happy with that. I think that was good progress. And again, my hair is everywhere. It's very annoying. But this blanket is going along really, really well. It is really good reading crochet, although there are a few times where I have made mistakes in the edging cables because it's like braided, but I don't think you can tell. There's a mistake in this row right here. Can you see it? Oh, maybe you can. Right there. You can see it from the back, maybe. I worked the row and I worked back, and then I came back and I realized that it was miscrossed. And so I kind of just did some crochet magic, like dropped down a row, or like chained down to the row, redid the stitches on top of the stitches where it was supposed to cross to fix that, and then chained back up and then did the row above that. I don't think you can see it. I wasn't willing to rip back 2 rows of work. Like, that's a lot of time for something that I don't think is visible, but I do think is very symbolic of how relationships work. Like, sometimes there's a mistake that happens and you have to fix it, and it doesn't mean that everything has to unravel. You just kind of fix it. And what people see is like the outside of your relationship. And I mean, even from the back, I don't think you would know it was there if I didn't say something. It's right here. I don't think you would know if I didn't point it out. But like, the work is there, but it's not always visible. I think that's very symbolic, so I'm leaving it. And that's happened twice in the blanket. One on either end of the blanket. So like if there was a his side and a her side, like I feel like that makes sense. And I'm leaving it because I don't think you could tell. If I didn't tell you, I don't think you would know. That yarn is being made out of loops and threads. And then, of course, I'm in the middle of a row. I did take this to work for professional development, and I did put on a few rows because yesterday was professional development, because they were kind enough after 2 nights of conferences to give us a professional development day so that we weren't having to like actively teach small humans while we're, exhausted from 2 nights of conferences. We don't do half days at my school because then we'll never make count because kids just won't come. We haven't had a half day at my school in 5 years. Yeah, something like that. Except the last day of school is a half day every year. Anyway, that's more than you needed to know. I am moving this yarn to the back because, again, I'm in the middle of a row. This is both a triumph and a failure because my goal was to do 12 inches and this is not 12 inches. But look at how much is done. And that's a lot of blanket. So I am further on this blanket than I thought I was. And I don't think that I need to stress as much about finishing this in June as I was stressing. It's like, here, I'll hold it up this is how long it is. It is not quite my wingspan long. I'll take a picture of it on my bed and show you because my bed is my standard of measurement. I wanted to cover the top of my queen size bed. So yeah, not a complete success, not 12 inches, but you know what? That was a lot of work. I added a lot onto that blanket. So I just need to figure out how much I need to add in March, April, and May because I'll be gifting it in June. And I would like to have the goals for March, April, and May, like have it done in May so that I can do the border in June. I don't know what that's going to look like. It very well could just be crab stitch around the edge because that's what I'm leaning towards because I love crab stitch for finishing off crochet projects, but I don't know for sure. But yeah, I'll put all of that information on a slide right after this, and then following that slide I will put pictures of my finishes from this month because I did good. I did really good at finishing crafty projects. Not everything I wanted to finish, but I did pretty good. And I read a few things. Again, not as much as I wanted to, but it's been a weird week and nothing happened this past week. So losing out on like a 25% of my knitting and reading time and still making all the progress I did, I'm pretty proud of it. All right, friends, thank you for watching. I will see you next month. Bye for now. Okay, I know what I said, but also remember sciatica issues. I'm not spreading this all out on my bed. That's not happening. But I did put the bottom... Sorry, my nugget was coming to get something. So I did put the foot of the blanket at the foot of my bed, and I put the end of the tape measure at the top of my bed, and to get it to the length I want, it's just under 26 inches, which means if I can average about 2 rows a day for March, April, and May, I will finish the crocheting in May because I did 8 inches this past month and that worked out to be 51 rows. So 2 rows a day is pretty doable on this blanket. Yeah. If I'm doing 2 rows a day on this blanket, 1 row a day on the wedding blanket, that it's going to take up like all of my time on on school days where I have very little energy, but it's not impossible. So that should work out. All right, bye for real this time.